Welcome to Bob Riding's Indicator. We are this year's proud sponsor of the Herald and Review Preps. To all the players, coaches, and fans out there, we wish you a very successful season. Remember, for all your automotive needs, come see us at Bob Riding's Indicator across from Caterpillar.
Hello, welcome to this week's Preps Preview alongside Justin Conn. I'm Leroy Bridges. Week 1 of Preps football season in the books. Week 2, we'll get ahead to that in a second, but let's rewind to Friday. Justin, what was something that kind of stuck out from your game, St. T at Central A&M?
We talked last week about this week being, or about week 1 being a week that we would learn a lot from, and I think we learned a lot of stuff, both good and bad, about the teams we covered. One thing I want to talk about is St. Teresa's offensive line. They were, we hyped them up as one of the best lines in the area.
Definitely.
And frankly, they didn't play real well in week 1. 2 days before the season starts, they lose Kyle LeCrone, who's the best lineman. So, that hurts, obviously. And then, they're learning a new offense with Coach Briley and Coach Boynton there. And, one thing that Coach Briley said on Friday night was that A&M really had them confused with their defense. He said that, they felt like they were a step behind A&M's defense all night. And, the big touchdown they had from Shavonte Joyner, the one that put them in the lead in that game, was he broke a ton of tackles. The line, he got hit at the line of scrimmage. I mean, it was, and even, I kind of teased Shavonte after in my story afterwards, saying, he really credited the line. But even Coach Briley said after that run, he did all that. That was him. But late in the game, they're backed up in their own territory. If they don't get it's on third down. If they don't get that third down, they're going to have to punt. And A&M has a real good shot at that point to come in and win that game. At that point, the line blew up in a huge hole for Joyner. He ran about 60 yards on a speed option play. And I felt like at that point, the line sort of proved a little something there. So, a rough debut for that line without LeCrone, but I think that there were some signs that that's going to be a good line. And obviously, on the flip side, A&M's defense is pretty strong. So I think that's kind of the impressions and kind of what I felt like I learned from week 1.
Yeah, an offensive line, that's one of those units that it's all about commonality, consistency, having the same people in there. And when you lose a piece a couple days before the game, especially a piece like Kyle LeCrone, I mean, it's just not somebody.
Right, yeah.
That's going to take some time to adjust and get used to. And obviously you saw that. I was in Mount Zion, and really, wow. I was stunned. Never thought I would go out there and see Braves coach, or Scott Davis coach team, just seeing the Braves look so bad. And I'm still kind of weary of them as they move forward here. I know they travel to Olney this week, a long bus ride. They're going against a common coach, Matt Music, former defensive coordinator. He knows the weaknesses on that team. He knows who's good, who's not good. I don't think Olney's going to beat Mount Zion at all this week. But Mount Zion needs to go out and prove that this first week was still transition, still kind of a fluke. Otherwise, they're going to be in some trouble.
And one of the sort of signs of Scott Davis teams, one of their trademarks has been coming out and just being so much better prepared than their opponents in the first week. Yeah. But when he was at St. Teresa, I felt like they won week 1 just because it felt like they were in midseason form. And so that's a little scary there for Mount Zion. They're not in midseason form in week 1. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they come out. They should be able to overpower Olney. That's something. That's a team they've been able to overpower the last couple of years. So so there's going to be some more questions answered in week 2 for Mount Zion. Absolutely.
The progression has to start now for them.
Yeah.
As we move forward, top 5. I know there's maybe a little movement already. Let's take a look at yours.
And it's tough. Our top 5 is a tough one to crack. If you lose a game and you don't play well, you're going to drop out of our top 5. So that's what's happening in mine. Number 5, I'm moving PANA in. They were a team I talked about last week as someone who I kind of wanted to see what they did. They had an impressive week 1 performance. They got a really tough test this Friday. They traveled to Alton Marquette, who beat Carlinville, who was a preseason ranked team. So that's a big test. But, so far so good for PANA. They're number 5. Number 4, I have TUSCOLA. I moved them up a spot. I have a feeling they're going to keep moving up this ladder. They looked outstanding in week 1, and I know Philip Meyer was.
I told you about TUSCOLA.
Oh, you told me about TUSCOLA? Yeah. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Keep moving them up.
Number 3, I'm keeping St. Teresa at number 3, even though, not a great week 1 performance. I think A&M has something to do with that, though, so we'll go with them at number 3. My top 2 stay the same. Number 2, MAROA-FORSYTH. Number 1, KZ Westfield. No surprises there. They were impressive.
Yeah, PANA checks in at number 5 in mine, too. They've got to move in. Mount Zion drops out. Like you said.
Out of mine, too. Mount Zion dropped out.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the top teams right now, there's a pretty solid group of elite teams, and Mount Zion's going to have to do quite a bit to get back into that. I mean, maybe a couple weeks worth of work. Number 4, TUSCOLA. Warriors have finally maybe a test this week. They travel to Monticello, and we'll kind of talk about that as we move forward here. Number 3, St. Teresa, and my top 2, the same 2, KZ and MAROA in the proper order. Actually, there.
Feel like maybe you kind of checked my top 5 or something before you came in, and then just changed the top 2. But that's okay.
It doesn't work like that.
I expect that. So.
All right. Well, as we look ahead to week 2, game of the week on the slate. Who's sticking out to you?
Well, obviously the game of the week is Tolono Unity and MAROA-FORSYTH. I'll let you get to that one. I'm going to talk first about Tuscola traveling to Monticello. I think those are 2 teams we didn't learn a lot about in the first week because their opponents, frankly, didn't play very well. They were just not as good. Monticello's win over Warrensburg. I know that Monticello felt like they could have played better offensively, but Warrensburg got nothing going. In fact, that's something I'm sure Warrensburg feels like they have a lot of work to do after that game. But Monticello hasn't had a ton of signature wins since Coach Welter's been there. They had his first year they beat St. Teresa and they had the playoff win, but since then, they sort of have beat the bad teams and lost to the good teams. Yeah. So I know that they would really like to get a win over Tuscola, and this is our first matchup with the Warriors since Coach Welter's been there. Tuscola, sort of the same thing. They lost a lot from last year, kind of maybe coming with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because people are saying they're down. And week 1 they weren't, but this will be their first test as well. So interesting to see sort of each of those teams' first test. Yeah,
that's going to be fun. Maybe not a better game in the state in Tolono. Number 2 as of right now in 2A MAROA, going to number 1 as of right now in 3A Tolono. Just I don't know what more you want in this game. An early season big time game. I mean, high rankings, established programs.
Yeah, I mean these are teams that have been to state in the last couple of years, or I know Tolono I believe made the semis last year. So they've
been doing damage for a while now, and just kind of talking with Coach Joseph as of Monday at 6 o'clock, he had already done 10 interviews. I mean that shows just right there. This is a huge game. He's kind of excited to see if he has a really good team. I kind of said, hey, 2 really good teams going against each other. And he said, I appreciate the compliment, but I'm not sure what kind of team I have yet. So that's going to be nice. A great test for them. Obviously, a smaller school. Tolono's got to be favored going in. They're just so loaded. But MAROA may be something to prove here. They're back. We're going to keep reloading, keep doing it year after year. They've never lost to Tolono. I think they played twice. In the O-Call.
And MAROA lost to St. Teresa the last 2 years, so that 3A team in the conference, they feel like they want to get one of those big wins against a 3A school. They've obviously dominated 2A competition, but that's a little bit of a pride thing for them, no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And as we move forward, Preps Pick'em is live. I know the winner this past week, got all the games right somehow. That's a pretty good effort out there.
Yeah, nice job.
Justin beat me, but we won't spend much time talking about that. So the Game Central vlogs are up there. Easy. Get online. Tell us your thoughts on the big games coming up this week, and we'll talk to you next week.